So you've practiced solving quadratics when there's no constant and when it's the difference of two squares. Now we're on to solving quadratic trinomials, which you've already been able to factorize in a previous lesson. So let's factorize them and solve them. So if you're brilliant at factorizing at this point, you will see that this is a 3 and a 2, and they're both pluses. So really quickly, we can see that x is equal to minus 2 or minus 3. If you can't see this really quickly, go back to the video on factorizing quadratic trinomials. Question 2, they're both pluses again. It has to be x by x. There's not that many factors of 21. 7 by 3 is the one that jumps out, and you can see that 7 plus 3 is 10. So plus 7 plus 3, x is equal to minus 7, and x is equal to minus 3. Now this one, two minus signs we know is a plus and a minus, so it's going to be a takeaway to get the 1 or the minus 1 in the middle. So we set it up. You should look at the 20 as well. What numbers multiply to give 20 and add to give 1 or subtract to give 1? You should see it straight away. So x by x, it has to be a 5 and a 4. And as I said to you in the previous lesson, the number in the middle, the biggest number, gets that sign, minus 5 plus 4. So minus 5 plus 4 is minus 1. So x is actually equal to plus 5 and minus 4. So you can see I've done or, I've written them twice, and I've put a comma. All perfectly acceptable methods. Now, prime number 3 has to be 3x by x. And these come up a lot. They may look more difficult, but actually when there's a prime number, the 5 is prime, the 3 is prime, so it has to be a 5 by a 1. And what I would suggest is it has to be 1 by 5. So there's a 5 and a 1 in these brackets. Put the biggest number 5 opposite the biggest number 3 to eliminate it normally. 5 3s would be 15 if the 5 went there, which is not going to get us anywhere near 8. So it's a 5 here and a 1 here. They're both pluses. And you can see that 5x plus 3x is our 8x. So what's x equal to? Minus 5 over 3 or minus 1. Practice these 4 questions and move on. Now, test yourself on these 4. If you can do these 4, we'll move on to slightly more complicated ones, but the same maths, the same method involved in them all. Okay, so here's the solution. 7 is prime, so 7x times x, it has to be 7x times x. 1 is prime as well. So, and the only option is 1 by 1, so you can see this one works out quite quickly. Don't have any fear over solving quadratic trinomials or factorizing. They're really logical questions. X is equal to minus 1 over 7 or minus 1. 3 is prime and 1 is prime. So you can see these repeat a lot. Prime numbers, only one option, 3x by x. With a 1, it has to be a 1 by a 1. And now all we have to think about are our signs. A minus in the middle and a minus at the end, 2 minus signs. Okay. So, no, sorry, excuse me, a plus and a minus sign. So where's the plus and where's the minus? Minus 2x, so we want to have a minus 3x, so that has to be a minus, and this has to be a plus. So x is equal to minus 1 over 3, or plus 1. Now, again, it has to be x times x. Factors of 8, 1 by 8, 4 by 2, so there's only 2 pairs of factors. So we want to get a 4 and a 2, or a 1 and an 8 into these brackets. Can you see? You should see that 1 and 8 can't work. So it's a 4 and a 2. What did I say about the sign in the middle? Goes with the biggest number. That's the plus sign in the middle. Equals naught. So x is equal to plus 2 or minus 4. Now, 4x squared can actually be made up of 4x times x or 2x by 2x. Now, putting both methods down doesn't take that much longer. 3 is prime. So put the 3 by 1 or 1 by 3, put a 3 here, and you can see that it doesn't work straight away. Put a 1 here, and a 3 here is the only other option in these brackets. And we can see that's going to give me a 4x, a 3x, so that doesn't work, so we just put a line through it, and we go down to the next one. So they're both 2's, so it doesn't matter where the 3 and the 1 go. And you can see that we're going to get 6x and 2x is 8x. So x is equal to minus 1 over 2. Where's the minus? Here it is here. And x is equal to minus 3 over 2. So hopefully you got all 4 of them correct. Move on to more difficult ones. So how can I make these quadratic equations more difficult to solve? Well, we have a couple with a minus x squared at the beginning, and we have a couple of algebraic fractions. So if you want to give these a go, pause the video. If not, have a look at how they're done, and then redo them. Test yourself by redoing them. Now, we don't have to change the sign of this. We could solve it a couple of ways, but if we change the sign of the 6x squared, what are we doing to the equation, everybody? We're multiplying by minus 1. So we're going to get a minus 5x and a minus 1 equals naught. Now, the 6x squared could be 6x by x, or it could be 3x by 2x. So write down, there's only two possibilities, write them down. You can see at the end here, it's a 1. So it has to be a 1 and a 1. So one of these is correct. So we want to get to minus 5x. Now, if we look at the second bracket, we've got, that's my 6x squared. That's going to give me 3x. This is going to give me 2x. So that looks like it will give me 5x. It'll give me 3x and 2x. So if they were both minus signs, we could get minus 5x. But what would minus 1 by minus 1 give me? It'd give me a plus 1. So this one, even though it looks like it's nearly correct, is actually incorrect. So let's look up above. We want a minus 5x. So if we have a minus 6x there and a plus 1x there, we're getting minus 5x, but the plus 1 by the minus 1 is giving me the minus 1. So be really careful when there's two solutions that are really close. So the answers for x are x is equal to minus 1 over 6 or plus 1. Again, on this one, change the signs. 4x squared minus 13x plus 3 equals 0. So what are our options? 2x by 2x or 4x by x. 3 is prime again, so it's a 3 and a 1. So with the two 2's being the same here, we can put the 3 in one bracket and the 1 in the other. Let's see, can we get minus 13x from here? Now immediately you're going to see I can't get minus 13. I've got 6 here and I've only got 2 at the other side. So that's not correct. So we can see the 3, sure, your brain should be telling you put the 3 away from the 4 to get 12 and the 1 here to get 13. And we know from our factorizing that when we have a plus sign at the end, this plus sign here, and we have a minus sign in the middle, they're two minuses. So x is equal to 1 over 4 or plus 3. Now, question 9, 10, 11, and 12. Some of you probably noticed question 6 and question 6. So that's why the order is a little bit off. Let's not worry about semantics. What are we multiplying here by to get rid of these algebraic fractions? We're multiplying by 6. 6 times x squared over 3 plus 6 times 3x over 2 plus 6 times 5 over 3. Now, you guys are probably getting good enough at this point where you don't need to do this. You should straight away see 2x squared plus 9x plus 15 equals naught. 2 is prime, so it has to be 2x times x. 15 normally would be 5 by 3. That would give us our solution. So did everyone see the mistake that I made deliberately? Of course you did. 10. 6 divided by 3 is 2, not 3. So does the 5 and the, well, we have a 10 now. Does the 5 and the 2 work? 5 by 2. If I put the 5 here, it's going to give me 10x. We have too many. If I put the 5 here and the 2 here, we'll get 9. 4x and 5x is 9x. So x is equal to minus 5 over 2 or minus 2. And finally, the 12th one, what are we multiplying by again? We're multiplying by 6. So 6 over 3 is 2. So let's jump straight to 2x squared. 6 over 2 is 3. So we're going to get 3x. And 6 over 6 is 1. So we just get minus 5 equals naught. So 2 is prime and 5 is prime, so it makes this easy to factorize. Where does my 5 go and where does my 1 go? Again, I identify, put the biggest number, put the 5 here, and you can see that it's not going to work. So the 5 has to go there and the 1 has to go there. Now, what are my signs? Plus sign with the big number, minus sign here. Does it work? Minus 2x plus 5x is 3x. So x is equal to minus 5 over 2 or plus 1. Practice these questions. Now here's some questions to test yourself on. These would be considered the most difficult quadratic equations to solve. So if you can do these, you can do any. Remember back to previous videos for when we have a decimal. Remember what to do when we have a minus at the beginning. Remember what we do when we have fractions. And remember what we do when we have more than one option to get the 9x squared. Practice these now and look at the solutions. Okay, so question 1, we're going to multiply by 3 to get 2x squared. I'll write down multiply by 3 plus x minus 1 equals 0. We can see that 2x is prime and 1 is prime. So it has to be 2x by x and 1 by 1. Plus sign, well, let's have a look. We want plus 2x, so it has to go there. And minus 1 there. So x is equal to 1 over 2 or minus 1. Question 2, we're going to multiply by minus 1 to get 4y squared. It doesn't matter what letter they use. We could use any letter. Plus 16y plus 15 is equal to 0. So what are we going to do? We're going to multiply 4y by y or 2y by 2y. And let's see the factors of 15. There's only 2 pairs, 1 by 15 and 5 by 3. So put the biggest number opposite the biggest number. If we put a 15 here, opposite 4, we're going to get 60. It's way too high. If we put a 15 here, we're going to still be over 16 with a 1 here. So that doesn't work, a 5 and a 3. If we put a 5 here, opposite 4, we'll get 20, which is too high. We want 16. If we put a 5 here, we'll still get too many because we'll have a 3 here by 4 is 12 and 5 by 1 is 5. It'll be too many. So it looks like it's 2y by 2y. Now we can see if we put 15 in either of those, we're going to get 30. So it can't be that one. So with both of them being the same, it looks like it has to be 5 and 3. And they're both pluses based on our knowledge of the signs inside the equation. Now does this work? 10y and 6y is 16y. So just come to the left a little bit. Y is equal to minus 3 over 2. And on the right hand side, y is equal to minus 5 over 2. Now, what did we do in a previous video when we had a decimal? How do we get that 2.4 into 24? We're going to multiply by 10. Now, you could solve it with decimals, but it's easier to do it this way. 10x squared minus 24x minus 64 equals 0. Now, there's something else. We could factorize it now. We'll still get the same answer. But why don't we divide by 2? Because that will simplify. We always want to do what we can in maths to simplify things for ourselves. And because 5 is prime, there's no other common factors. And because 5 is prime, it has to be 5x by x. Now, there's quite a few factors of 32. 8 fourths, I think, is what works here. 8 by 4. We have a minus and a minus, so our signs are a plus and a minus. So if we put an 8 here and a 4 here, we're going to get 20 minus 8, which is 12. But we want minus 12, so it's going to be minus 20 plus 8. So x is equal to minus 8 over 5 and plus 4. Now, how could I see that it was 8 and 4? Well, I'd normally start with one of the factors somewhere in the middle. And it just jumps out. When you practice these a lot, the answers jump out from the screen or from the page or from the book or whatever you're using. 9x squared, 9x by x. 3x by 3x. The fact that 2 is prime should help us. 2 by 1. So we'll put a 2 here. The biggest number opposite the biggest number. We're going to get 18. Way too high. If I put a 2 here, I'm going to get 2x. And a 1 here would give me 9x. So 2x and 9x does make up 7x. So let's try that one. 2x and 9x. Look at my signs. A minus and a minus. So this is a takeaway sum. We're going to have a plus and a minus inside. So we want minus 7x. So there's my minus 9x. plus 2x, that does work for us. So x is equal to minus 2 over 9 and plus 1. You guys are now brilliant at solving quadratic equations. Practice these questions over and over again. They'll hold no fear.